Do you remember New Super Mario Bros. Wii? It was all the fun of the 2D Mario games, except this time you could pick up your friend and throw them into a pit. If you had a Wii, there was a solid chance you had this game. The New Super Mario Bros. Games got done to death, but this one was really fun and innovative. This doesn't mean much, but it came in a red case. It made this game really stand out, and you could tell if your friend was cool or not whether they had this game pretty easily. Not only could you play as Mario and Luigi, but you could also play as two different Toads. I'll be honest, if you went for one of these Toads, you're cool. If you didn't, I'm not saying that you're not. Do you remember Pokemon Black and White 2? It had Hugh, who's a great rival, but he's really angry because someone stole his cat. I mean, I guess I'd be angry too. There was even more Pokemon, and you didn't have to wait until the end of the game to get them. You could even take two different Pokemon, fuse them together. It was only these two Pokemon, but it was still cool. And they had the Pokemon World Tournament where you could fight Blue, Cynthia, Red, and Cynthia. If you want to hear more about it, I have a full video on my channel. Do you remember Mario Sunshine? The game where Mario has to go to court because he was framed for a crime he didn't commit. It's like Law and Order Mushroom Kingdom. It had Flood, the water backpack. It had a Yoshi that dissolves in water, which doesn't make sense because this is a game all about water, but it was cool nonetheless. The camera wasn't great. You gotta pull on tentacles. I mean, can you really complain? It's a 3D Mario game. It's gonna be great, but if you wanna know if it's the best, I got a video on my channel. Remember Super Mario Galaxy? They shot an Italian man into space. Why does he not need a spacesuit or at least a helmet? He's just raw dogging the cosmos. He gets to meet this space lady, which too many people like too much. You get to feed some fat stars, and I think that's probably the best thing ever. It was on the Wii, so you know it had to be great. But is it the best? Check the channel to find out. Really quick game review. Astrobot is a really fun game, and I was not expecting it. Sony did not send me a free copy. I'll never forgive them. They saw Mario Galaxy and how great it was, and they said, I could probably do that. And they did an incredible job. Now, I'm not normally a fan of product placement in games, but if you're gonna do it to the level that they just did. Every single thing in this game is some sort of product placement for a Sony IP, which I didn't think I was gonna like, but they did it really well. Sony is not known for their 3D platformers anymore, and I am very happy that they decided to get back into it. A lot of people know Astrobot because it's the first thing you can play when you get a PS5, and I'm really glad they decided to make a full game out of this. I'm giving it a solid 5.8 out of 6 bagels. Remember Wii Sports? It was so simple, but somehow one of the best games ever. Now, I hate bowling, except for this. It even had baseball. Now, it's no Mario baseball, but I mean, come on. The game let you throw hands. I mean, me and my siblings were doing that anyways, but the fact that we could do it virtually was great. It also had tennis. Who's playing that? Really quick game review. Echoes of Wisdom is really, really good. I love Zelda. Didn't expect to like this as much as I did. It's a change of pace. It's not your standard 2D Zelda experience. It's so much more. You can spawn items whenever you want. You want a table? Bam. It's like you're a furniture store. You can essentially just have Pokemon battles. My go-to strategy is summoning 4 bats to deal with every problem. Should you buy it? Yes. Everybody knows Mario 64 is great, but somehow they took it, smashed it down, and got it to work on the DS. It's all the same Mario 64 action that you love, with loads of extra stuff to do. Originally, you only had 120 stars, but now you have 150, and you can play as Wario. I would have been impressed if they got this game on the DS like 5 years after it released, but somehow they got it out day one. It was a launch title, but beyond the extra stars and playing as Wario, you could gamble with Luigi. They had like 5 different gambling mini-games in this. You could play roulette, slots, and of course a gambling game with Luigi where he's dressed as a card dealer. They just don't make games like they used to. Nintendo just announced a brand new device coming to their lineup, and it's not what you think. It's a Nintendo alarm clock called Alarmo. It's a smart alarm clock that tracks your body's movement as you sleep. And when it's time to wake up in the morning, it plays different sounds based off different games in Nintendo's library. You can wake up to Mario Odyssey, Splatoon, or even Breath of the Wild sounds. After your alarm goes off, every single time you make a movement, it will make a sound from the chosen game. And the longer you stay in bed, the more intense the music gets. I'm just imagining what it's gonna be like waking up to the sound of getting shot at by a guardian, but I guess that would get me out of bed. It's available now only for Nintendo Online members or in person at the Nintendo World Store in New York City. Are you gonna pick this up? Do you think the Rizzler is a Democrat or a Republican? Did you hear they added Skibidi Toilet to Fortnite?
What's your favorite flavor of Prime? Mr. Beast games probably exist. I think the McRib is back. Are any of your friends' parents high-profile CEOs? And if so, do you know their schedule? Can you imagine if Ninja got a low taper fade? How big do you think Big Justice actually is? So they're just knocking out pedophiles at Walmart now? Did someone say massive? Apparently queso only weighs 119 pounds. Nah, I'm good. I don't want to go to Walmart. Are you a chicken bake person or a double chunk chocolate cookie person? I'm pretty sure Kai Cenat has boosted shoes to look taller. These are some of the games I'm excited for in 2025. We're finally getting Metroid Prime 4, which for a while I wasn't sure was going to happen, and I am so excited. We had Metroid Dread a little while ago, and that was incredible, so if they have anywhere near as high quality of a game as that, we're in for a masterpiece. Skate? Sign me up. I played Skate 3, arguably way too much. So the fact that we're getting a new Skate game this year is going to make me go actually insane. I'll be honest, I'm excited for Borderlands 4. Is Borderlands doing that great ever since Borderlands 2? Not really. But I have at least some hopes for this game. As long as it's better than the movie, I'll be happy. But the biggest thing I'm excited for is for whatever Nintendo is planning on cooking up for the new Nintendo Switch 2. I've never been shy about the fact that I'm a huge Nintendo fan. So the fact that we're getting a new console this year is enough to make a grown man cry. Of course I'm excited for more than just this, but what are you excited for? Let me know. The Switch 2, Mario Kart 9, and so much more. As of a few minutes ago, Nintendo just announced the Switch 2 with footage of Mario Kart 9, presumably. The leaks were real, and it looks like we're getting a direct with more information on February 4th, so mark your calendar. I'm ranking every main series Pokemon game from worst to best. The worst games are Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Get him! No, please, I still haven't spoken to a girl yet.
These games aren't inherently bad. They're absolutely playable, and if you like them, I understand why. They are just the worst way to play the Sinnoh region, and they were a disappointing game from the start. This game ended up feeling like a DS experience on the Switch with a full price tag. There are a lot of things I still like about these games though. I like how flushed out the underground is, and I like how they made it a lot easier to catch certain Pokemon. But that's where the pros start to end, because this game had so much potential, but it ended up being too faithful of a remake. With a little more time and a little more content, I guarantee this game could have been way higher on the list, but it ended up feeling so flat, especially when you compare it to other games, that it has to be the worst. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are extremely weird games. I didn't think that it was possible to get a Pokemon game worse than these on Switch, but it happened. It made a lot of sense for them to capitalize off Pokemon Go's success and pull those people over to the Switch. But this game just isn't it. This seems like a good introductory game for kids who have never even heard of Pokemon, but for people who've been playing for a while, it's just so bad. This game does have some good things though. I think it looks really good visually. And I like how they made it so your starter can use the HM, so you don't have to dedicate a full Pokemon to being an HM slave. If they had taken the art style for this game, got rid of the overworld encounters, and used this as the base for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I'm sure these games would have sold like hotcakes. Pokemon Sun and Moon's biggest crime is being overall decent. I like the Alola region, but I have no reason to play these games since they made Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon so much better. These games just feel like they're lacking anything appealing, and they fixed that with the other titles. I'm a certified Team Skull hater. I don't like them as a villain organization. I don't think they're the worst, but in this game especially, I just did not like them. I like how they didn't take themselves too seriously, but I think that they could have done it in other ways to make them more appealing. But I like the Aether Foundation, and I like how they contrast them so well, so they get a pass. I also like the Ultra Beasts. I think they were a good idea. I didn't like Z moves all that much either. I think they were a swing and a miss. They had to follow Mega Evolutions, so I can't fault them. They just weren't great. But I do like how they kept Mega Evolutions in this game. It made it so it didn't feel like it was a one-time thing. But when there's better versions of a game out there, it's hard to put this any higher. I wanted to like Scarlet and Violet way more than I did. These games aren't bad, but if they waited a year and then released them, I think they would have been so much better. They feel like they were rushed in a lot of ways, especially graphically. These games have really bad performance issues, and it's noticeable right away. But performance issues aside, I don't like how they made this game an open world game and then didn't let you explore it in any order you want. Not being able to do things in the order you want made this game feel way more linear than it should. And don't get me started on the villain organization, they're just a bunch of kids who are antsy about being in school. But this game did have some really good things. I like terastallization a lot. I understand it's lazy, but at the end of the day, it's still fun. I think that this game had a really good idea of having a past version and a future version, and I think Area Zero towards the end made that even better. If these games had better performance and better DLC, I think they would have been way higher on this list. The old Pokemon games are fun, but they do not hold up as well as people think. Gold and Silver are here because when you play them, they are extremely dated. I like these games, but at the end of the day, I'm never going to pick these over Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I can understand why these games are lacking. This is the second generation of Pokemon, and you never think the sequel is going to do as well as the original. So they decided to prop it up with Kanto to make this game feel more complete. And that can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you look at it, because it could be more for you to play, but it could also be really bad pacing issues. I grew up with these games, but at the end of the day, they did not age well. And Red and Blue are on the same page. These games are at baseline fun, but they still suffer from the same thing that Gold and Silver did. The only reason I'm rating these higher than Gold and Silver is because they were the original games and they started the whole series. If I had to pick between playing Gold and Silver and Red and Blue, I would probably pick Red and Blue 8 out of 10 times. These were the first Pokemon games I ever played, but at the end of the day, these games do not hold a candle to some of the other games in the series. I'm combining Yellow and Crystal because they're both the best ways to play the Game Boy Color era of Pokemon. Both of these games felt like a better package than their source material, and I'm always going to pick playing these over playing the originals. Pokemon Yellow especially is better because you can get all 3 starter Pokemon in one game, which is not possible in any other game. These are just definitive versions of the other games, so I have to put them higher than the originals. Diamond and Pearl are really solid games, but when you compare them to other Pokemon games, there are a lot of flaws. Before I get judo clapped, Gen 4 is my second favorite generation of Pokemon, but these games just were not it. These games had really bad performance issues. It would take 4 years to beat any Pokemon battle because of how slow it would move, and there were so many HMs in this game, it was hard to navigate through. These games did a lot of things really well though. It had a really good story and it had the best soundtrack in all of Pokemon. I'm really glad they released Platinum because these games needed some love. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are great games. It just feels like a way better version to play Gen 7. Everything I said about the Aether Foundation and Team Skull still stand, especially in this game, but these games are just so much more fun to play. These games added content that it felt like a no-brainer to add, and it has one of the hardest Pokemon battles in Pokemon's history. There are things that Sun and Moon do better, like having better encounters with the Ultra Beasts, but this game just feels like a better package. I'm glad I gave these games a shot because I almost didn't because of how disappointed I was with the originals. I think my hottest Pokemon take